Hi, I'm Ollie of Guns Contractors. Welcome to my new site where we're building a new single house here for a family. It's going to be a nice passive house for them. It's a large plot and it's got lots of different elements to it, one of which causes drainage. So we've got storm and foul on this site, some of which is going to go into a rainwater harvesting tank and then into a soakaway, and that involves a lot of components. So I like to, especially on a small site like this, with not a huge amount of room. So I like to keep all my things in one place. That's where I found the SiteStak's been really useful. We can sort of move it about, we do a little bit of drainage, you can just bring it over, drop it off again as required, and it keeps everything in one place, which is essential really when you're in tight sites and you've just not got the room to have things scattered around. Now I've chosen the 1 to suit 3 metre pipes. This is a 2.5 metre unit, and I tend to use the smaller lengths of pipe because I'm always doing the sort of smaller jobs. Things like this, a single house is quite a big job for me. Sometimes I may only be using a dozen lengths. However, the small SiteStak, I can lift it on and off my trailer, makes it super easy to transport, and it's worked really well for me. So the great thing with this unit is it keeps all your pipes and your fittings in one place. So we've got a stock of pipes here, which is super easy to see, A, how many lengths you've got left on the job when you're trying to work out if we've got enough material on the job. And secondly, it keeps it all tidy in one place. Then we've got the elements with the fittings. Now, I've got a bin for various things in here. You can see we've got our manhole seals, there's a manhole in here, some end caps. Then you've got different bins, which we've got nicely labelled up. This all comes with the SiteStak. I keep my sort of bends and T's and everything in here. Collars, because obviously you use loads of them. And then the different single socket, I like to use single socket fittings. All in one place, easy to count up, see how many you've got, super easy. Then when you want to come to do a cut on your bit of pipe, all you've got to do is lift it into place. The unit's got a nice workstation. It becomes an easy workstation to work on. And I can slide it through. All my tools up here, got a pen, tape measure, saw, super easy, clamp it into place. And then we've got our saw guide here, which allows us to have a nice straight cut. So there's no more awkward cuts. This is super easy to get a nice sort of straight edge on it, which is important. We don't want any drainage failing a test because you've cut a seal from a dodgy cut. So another element, there's lots of little details into this SiteStak that just make it that little bit easier to use. I've talked about the clamp and the pipe cutter to get a nice straight face, but also even that this element here is the right amount of length for your rocker pipes. So without even measuring, you can see what you need to do, mark it up, slide it through, do your cut. I think that makes it super easy. I've also gone for the optional lifting eyes on this so that I can lift it with chains, which sometimes I do with my backhoe. And I've got the fork pockets to lift it with a traditional forklift. So that for me gives me the option to lift it on and off, for example, my trailer where you can't get it on with the forks. You can just drop it in with the chains. I like to have that option. Okay, so I'm just going to show how easy it is to cut a rocker pipe on this. Again, I don't even need my tape measure. We know that this is the right dimension. So, quite easy. I like to mark my pipe. It just gives me a visual indicator of where I need to cut. I'm then sliding it through. I'm not having to bend over, do anything here. I've got all my tools to hand. Get it in the right place, clamp it in place. Hand saw, so we're not using any extra power tools. I've got the problem with refueling your disc cutter on site in special places. Nice and simple hand saw. Super easy to cut the pipe. And a really nice clean cut there. You can see how square it is. Slide this back, slide my pipe in, and I've got my chamfer tool. These are fantastic bits of kit. If you haven't got one of these, I really recommend it. It can save you an hour a day easily, especially when you're doing lots of plot drainage here. It just runs off a straight drill, doesn't matter what drill you've got. Stick it in, spin it up, and it gives you an almost factory finish really, because it doesn't just chamfer the edge, it also squares up the end, which of course was pretty square from our cut anyway. So that now, ready to go off to plot. I've been looking at the SiteStak product for years. I've seen other larger ground workers with one, and I'm really glad that I've finally taken the plunge and gone for this. It's actually been better in some ways than I even thought it would be. The different ways of being able to move it around and some of the features that I didn't really appreciate when I was sort of looking and seeing their social media posts. So thank you to Blue Jay for coming up with what on the face of it is a very simple product, but actually has got a lot of nice little neat details in it, and that's always very appreciated.